We're fucking back. Happy Friday to everybody. Back on it. Episode 19. Hope everybody had a good week. I had a pretty good week. Happy to start the weekend as always. It's fun recording these Friday afternoon right when the weekend starts. You know, I feel real chipper. Always good to be chipper, Jones. But I'll probably have to get back in the habit of doing these Thursday nights and uploading them early on Friday. That probably makes more sense. But damn, it's always fun recording these on Friday. But anyway, 200 fucking wins for Adam Wainwright. I mentioned last week that I was gonna be at the game. So on Monday I got to be at the game where Adam Wainwright got his 200th win. It was really cool. It was a great fucking time. I got to go with my dad, and we got to end the Cardinals season on an incredibly positive note, which was awesome. It was great. If I remember right, I think Waino pitched 7 shutout innings. Yeah, 7 shutout innings that we watched him pitch. So, or let me check. If I'm wrong, I sounded so confident with that 7 innings, but on the off chance it was 6, I'm going to check right now. But I'm pretty sure it was 7. It was a hell of a game. Cardinals won 1-0. It was the last Cardinal game for both of us of the year, and it ended on a really high note. You know, we got to be there for the best Cardinal moment of the entire year. Pretty confident in saying that because there hasn't really been much else to be happy about this year. This was kind of the one thing. Any Cardinals fan would agree with you. This was the one thing, especially once we realized in late April that the season was done, but we didn't know it yet. But man, we were struggling in late April. We were scared in April. So it's been a long year, but again, you know, the one thing that really mattered, we got to be there. Yep, 7 innings, just pulled it up. It took me 8 years, but yeah. Waino, he went 7 innings, gave up 4 hits, struck out 3, only walked 2. It was a hell of a fucking game to be at. I mean, I bought these tickets like months ago when the Cardinals had like this flash sale. I was able to get tickets to 3 different games for like 60-some bucks. So I bought these tickets a very long time ago, and the last 2 games I was at, I got to see Waino pitch. So, I mean, one of my absolute favorite pitchers to watch. He's been doing it ever since, you know, I've paid attention to baseball. Him and Chris Carpenter have always been my favorite Cardinal pitchers. So, getting to see him have his 200th win, getting to see that in person it was great. I mean, you really can't make that shit up, you know? You get to go to the biggest highlight of the Cardinals year during a year where there wasn't much to be too excited about. And especially the last game that I was at with my dad before this past one, the Cardinals actually lost 1-0 to the fucking Rockies. And so there's an episode about that game too. I think it's titled The Game Where Every Swing Mattered, because literally every swing mattered, and the Cardinals lost. We stranded like 57 runners on base that game. Didn't do shit. That game was absolutely brutal. We lost 1-0, and we couldn't get just one hit. One big hit to score some runs. We couldn't get it once in that game. I think the actual number was like 17 or something. 17 runners left on. But Adam Wainwright got his 200th win. 7 innings, no runs. The score was 1-0, and the difference maker, Wilson Contreras, Cardinals catcher, he's put in a pretty good year, and he was essential to that game. They brought him out for the post-game interview after the game where they were talking to Wainwright, and then they talked to Wilson Contreras for a little bit, and man, you could tell that guy gave a fuck. I mean, you can tell that guy really fucking cares. And he called a hell of a game. He helped Waino get through 7 innings of shutout baseball. He called the next 2 innings, and I'll say who are these pitchers? Still got it pulled up. Oh, Jesus. Cardinals brought in John King. He got 2 outs, and then Helsley came in and got the last 4 outs of the game, and Adam Wainwright got his 200th victory in his career. He's 42. Since I last made an episode talking about Waino, he was 41, and he's aged. Of course he's aged. That's how life works, but I have another episode called The 41-Year-Old Dog, and that was about Wainwright too. But now here we are at one of the highest moments of his career, and he's 42 years old out there doing it on the field. It was a pleasure to watch. It was fucking awesome. It was my last game of the year too. So we got to end on the best note possible. So that's my takeaway from this year. Moving on to the next year. Oh, also, before I move on to next year, I think the last out that Adam Wainwright had to get on his way to getting his 200th win was against former MVP Josh Donaldson, who was cut from the Yankees earlier this year, and then the Brewers picked him up, and he's been playing third base for them. And, of course, there was a massive at-bat where there's a runner on second. Cardinals are up 1-0. Josh Donaldson's at the plate. Again, future Hall of Famer, already won an MVP. He could hit a home run at any time. He's still fucking good. I mean, he's a dude. And, of course, Waino got him out. I think it was a fly ball, got him out, and then got out of the inning, and then the Cardinals were able to hold on for the win. So it was awesome. That's damn near all I had. I mean, I got to go to that game, and it was a lot of luck went into how it worked out on my end, and I'm happy. I'm happy with how that worked out, and I'm just wanted to share that. I almost made a bonus episode earlier this week, bitching about my fantasy teams, because my fantasy baseball team is in shambles. Everybody's on the fucking injured list. I can barely fill a starting lineup. But it's my own fault. I used all my moves. I can't pick anybody else up. There's like a little bit less than 2 weeks left in the... No, there's only a week. Holy shit. I think it's the 22nd. Yeah, there's only like a week and some change left in the season. So I'm stumbling to the finish line in the fantasy baseball world. It's fucking brutal. If a miracle happens, I'll get into 5th place and win a little bit of money, but it's not looking good. But yeah, I almost made a bonus episode on like Sunday or Monday, solely just bitching about all of that with my fantasy baseball team, plus me not winning bets anymore. And at least for now, I'm saying goodbye to sports betting, because I'm just ice cold, and I have been for a while. I swear I have been since Vegas. Since I made like $30 in Vegas and then came home, and my win-loss ratio's got to be terrible since then. So something's got to change, but I'm stepping away for now. So I had that revelation Sunday. I was stepping away from that. Fantasy baseball team fucking sucks. Fantasy football team also was fucking terrible on Sunday. This is a baseball podcast, but I'll bitch about this a little bit. But yeah, fantasy football team, my running backs and wide receivers didn't score touchdowns, so I didn't win, obviously. And not only did I not win, but I had to lose to Amanda, which was not ideal, but whatever. Congratulations to her. But yeah, my Sunday was spent watching my fantasy team do nothing and watching her team kick ass on NFL Red Zone. So that was my Sunday. Everything came crashing down. Yes, it is exactly as dramatic as I make it fucking sound, I promise. But yeah, everything came crashing the fuck down on Sunday, and I just thought it was hilarious how that timing worked out. How it all just happened at once, and I'm just like, oh, okay, wow, that's just hilarious. So I almost made another episode, just kind of, it would have been an episode of just solely bitching about all that stuff you just heard me bitching about. And I'm so glad that I didn't, because the first thing I thought was, when I started this podcast, one of my goals is to be positive and, not shit talk or just say bullshit, hurtful bullshit. I don't know. You know what I mean? I just don't want to be a fuck. That's all we can hope to be, And I thought about that, and I was like, oh yeah, it would be a really negative episode, but I still almost did it just because I thought it was, it would have been humorous in a way, I'm sure. But I'm, after going to that Cardinals game Monday and getting to have things line up the way they did and have that kind of experience, especially in the shittiest Cardinal season of my life, I mean, getting to have that experience, it was incredible. So, I mean, having all of that right after that Sunday where, everything comes crashing down in the fantasy sports and gambling world for me, I mean, hey, man, you just can't complain. At the end of the day, shit's really never as bad as we think it is. I mean, Jesus. In that moment, I'm sure I could have gone on a hell of a rant, but I would have just been another fuck mad about something on the internet, which I guess I am. I'm not sure where I'm going with this, but anyway, if you're listening to this rambling fuck fest, I appreciate it. We're going to start having guests as well, so be on the lookout for that. That'll be fun. First guest will be within a month or so. So that'll be a good time. We'll get to doing that for the first time and get some switching the game up a little bit around here. But yeah, I'm happy. I'm glad I got to share my experience. I'm glad I got to talk about that. Congratulations, Adam Wainwright. Fucking awesome. Really cool. But yeah, that's about what's been up with me. As always, we'll be chugging along. Cardinals have a week left. Hope everybody has a good weekend. Shit. I mean, that's about all I had. We'll be back next week. Enjoy the weekend.